Well, hello there. Good afternoon, or almost afternoon.
There it is.
I'm Karen Wright,
Hi, and I'm Kaz Millions
and,
from Maryland.
and we're here going to talk about the awesome training that we had this morning here at Boomy's house. She was gracious enough to offer us breakfast today, and in addition to the breakfast, we had a great training. We learned some things. We shared information. We brought out hundred. We brought out 100. Well, it was supposed to be 50, but some of us went overboard, and we brought our list in for Dr. Darrell, who checked it and made sure that we were legitimate to come in and have breakfast today, and I got my check mark.
Yes.
We had an awesome training. We got a chance, an opportunity to make calls, and I made relatively a good amount of calls. I called 20 people and I got 3 sales. So
Awesome.
that was a good day, because normally I
Yes.
would not have sat down for that period of time and taken the time to go through a list of names and do it, because you just always find something else to do.
Yes.
How'd you do?
I did, I made 19 calls. Most people weren't home,
Right.
but I did actually speak with 4 people, and all 4 of them asked me to send them my videos. So I sent them my digital card.
Great.
But I want to thank Boomy for opening up her home today for us to do this. Boiler room calling, I've always been a fan of it. And because it makes you take the time to do it.
True.
And when you do it with a group of people, it just gives you that
Confidence.
and just extra push and
Right.
boost. Yeah.
True
Because,
that.
like you said, if I was home right now, I would not have made those 19 calls.
Exactly.
I do this
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, but not as often as I should.
Right.
Excuse me, not as consistently as I should. And I make 20 calls in a day,
Mm-hmm.
but I won't just sit down and do them all within 1 hour.
Right.
I'll
Yeah.
make a few calls and then I'll get up and go do something else, and then I'll come back and make some more calls. And, I'm just a busybody moving around doing this and doing that, but I need to devote time. We need to think of this as our job because it's our business.
Right.
So if you go to work, you don't work an hour or two and then walk around the corner,
Yeah.
up in the next block and do
Right.
something else, see your girlfriend, come back. So we need to think of it as a job. This is time, even if you don't do it every day at the same time, but whatever time you do set aside. Today I'm
right.
going to make calls. I'm going to call 20 people, and you set an hour to sit there and do that. And you can make 20 calls in an hour.
That's
you can
true.
make more than 20
That's true.
calls sometimes in an hour, depending on how long you stay on the phone. Like Boomy said, you shouldn't be on that long. But when it's people that you know, sometimes you do be on there that you haven't talked to in a long time. You gotta open up, the conversation and not make it about, hey, look, I just called this, boom, boom, boom.
Right.
But, how you been? We haven't talked in a while.
Right. Right.
Blah, blah, blah. So,
Without making it too long and drawn out, and try to make it conversation, maybe relate to maybe what you're going to be talking about. I'll ask them, well, how have you been? And I'll tell them about I'm in the health and wellness, and I'm at the pool and I'm working out and trying to stay healthy. So, I mean, you try to make it relative to what we're discussing and what we're trying to share. For me, it's been an obstacle to make those calls, because I, for one, kind of lacked the confidence. But like you said, it was a discipline thing. So now I will make myself, now that I've gotten a little bit more confident about promoting, not only on the phone, but especially in person. I feel more comfortable talking to people in person. And I mean, everybody has their preference. So I'm beginning to like open doors that I have, that have been shut for a while. And like Tut had said once upon a time, you have to do it sometimes even when you're scared. You do it bad until you do it good, So for me, that's been.
And when you don't feel like it.
Right. So
that's when you really need to do it, when you don't feel like it.
True that, true.
Because if you got a call and said there's $1 million in your bank account, but you got to pick it up within the next hour, you will feel like doing that.
Exactly.
And that's the way you got to think about it.
Yeah.
This is activity that leads to your money. If you want the money, you got to do the activity.
That's true.
So you got to push yourself. Push through the fear, push through the tiredness, the laziness, or whatever it may be. But one thing I want to point out, Karen, is something Boomy's been talking about. Hi, Pastor Kevin Barber. Hi, Anita Daly. One thing I want to point out is Boomy's been talking about events. Guys, these events are so important. Like we say, the money is out in the streets. It's summertime now. There's something going on somewhere
every weekend,
every day,
every
really,
day. That's
or
true.
every weekend.
Every weekend, yeah.
But there's all kinds of every weekend, all kinds of activities. This is where you meet new people. Well, how do I meet people? Well, how do I find entrepreneurs? You don't just walk into a business. Well, you can. I've done that too. Just walked into a business and they be open. But a good way to meet entrepreneurs is at an event where there are lots of vendors. Now, out of all those calls I made today, a great percentage of them were vendors that I met 2 weeks ago at the Happy Nappy Festival in Gwynn Oak Park.
Right.
Some of them were at home, but the ones that answered the phone, not one person said I'm not interested, or they were all open to receiving the information. And those are ones I sent my card to. I have 2 scheduled, one in a few minutes at 12 o'clock to call back.
Mm-hmm.
And he's actually on his way to work, but he said that's okay, I can still watch it. Call me back about 2 o'clock.
All right.
And then there's another one that I have to call back at 2, and then another one tomorrow. So they all were open to the information, because sometimes you meet people and they'll give you their number, but then when you call them, they're no longer interested, or not, so.
Right.
But these people are already entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
They're interested.
And
in
I mean,
anything
I found
that's
too,
going to empower people.
Didn't mean to cut you off. Sharing your story, with people and trying to find out their situation is always a benefit. I mean, one call that I made today to my neighbor, I was sharing how I've been off my diabetic medicine for a year, and he's been struggling with his...
Wait a minute. Success clap. Boom.
So anyway, I had shared that with him, and that really piqued his interest, because he's been struggling with his diabetes as well. And he also was sharing with me that he had been hospitalized a few months back with impacted bowels, and the tea will resolve that issue. So I'm supposed to get him a gallon to him tomorrow. I promised him I would bring it to him. So I mean, just sharing your story and just seeing where people are is really what kind of draws them into what you're saying. So I'm learning as I go along. Long time coming, but it's okay.
That's right.
But anyway, I didn't know, I don't know how much longer you want to go. We just want to make this short, quick video and get on and give you kind of like a overall what we did today, discussed today, shared today, and share with you all, and wish you all much success in what you're doing as well.
And mainly, I want to do the video to really talk about what it did for us, not so much what we did. Everybody knows on the team knows what we did, but what did it do for you?
Right.
How did it make a difference? Because like Boomy asked you, is this something that you would have done if you were home?
Right.
So did coming together with your team members make a difference?
Of course.
You got a sale today that you probably wouldn't have gotten if you were at home. And that was your neighbor.
True.
But you probably wouldn't even have talked to your own neighbor.
Well, no, I had actually. I had mentioned it to him when he told me about the hospitalization a while ago.
But would you have talked to him today and got that sale today? That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
That follow-up you did today because you were here with us. So the energy that you get from being together in a group, that's what Boiler Rooms is all about, the high energy. There's some movies that talk about boiler rooms. There's one called The Boiler Room.
Okay.
I think Nia Long was played in it.
Okay.
And then there's a couple more. One Boomy mentioned the other day. Maybe guys can watch it if you haven't seen it. But that boiler room is high energy.
Okay.
It's everybody's on a mission to get it done.
Yeah.
And everybody is there to support one another. And then you don't have to find somebody to do a three-way. You got all these team members right there if you need a three-way.
Right.
So it's high energy and it's high impact.
Yeah. And knowing that we're all on the same mission and everything always brings unity. So it helps you to get in the moment. It helps you to hype up for speaking to people and being engaging and, sharing. And hopefully they'll get the energy that you present to them and can return it to you. And that hopefully that will result in a customer or, who knows, a distributor.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm grateful for this day. Thank
Me
you
too.
again, Boomy Moore.
Thank you,
and
Boomy.
Thanks for all of you at home that participated. To all of you, I say, success clap.
Boom. Have a good
See
day.
you later.